What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the blue color, playing as Oranos. His name is Suppe. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Ra. His name is Kvoth. The map is Savannah. This is game number 2 of this best of 5 series exhibition match for the overhaul patch here, showing off some of the new exciting changes that could be applied to your game with just a click of a button. All you have to do is download the patch and you too can play a brand new shiny car. I mean, I don't know what I'm trying to say. You can yeah, we'll see how this one's going to go. We do see the Tusk of the Iron Ball popping up yet again for Kvoth. This relic is bonkers. Just for Ra in general, but this relic is just bonkers. This is why let me try and organize my thoughts here with this relic and relics in general. So the reason why I went in and I was like, you know what, the relics need a bit of an overhaul as well. It's because there's some relics like Tusk of the Iron Boar, which are just bonkers strong, and they show up once every so often, and then they really, really help out the player that picks it up. But then the other player gets a really stinky relic like the Fetters of Fenrir, and you go, well, how is that fair? So I basically went ahead and I found every single kind of average to below relic, and I changed it or I buffed it in some variety so that every relic can feel somewhat as important as Tusk of the Iron Boar. Now, Fetters of the Fenrir over here, you'll see in the bottom left that it says 250 villager pierce damage. That's not what it does anymore. Instead, it gives you an extra 10% bonus gather rate on Hunt, which might not be the best of relics in this game, though there is a decent amount of Hunt across the map. So definitely worth picking up if you are Suppe to help him along. But definitely a decent relic for sure. But we'll see how this game's going to go. The fact of the matter is that Ra specifically, and we haven't actually talked about Ra's changes just yet, but one change that hasn't changed is that the fact that Ra gets 22% extra HP on his chariot archers and his cavalry, and this relic gives 10% extra on top of that. So now it's 32% extra hit points on the chariot archers and the cavalry in this game just from having that one relic. Anyways, the other change here that's happening is you can see this what is Kvoth doing with this priest? Why isn't this priest in the main base empowering? Well, the priest is a very, very different unit for Ra now. It does not get the empowerment bonus. It gets 0 empowerment boost. Instead, it gets some speed. It gets some myth unit bonus damage. It gets some HP. It gets some armor. And it is an absolute beast in your fights, at least with dealing with enemy myth units. But it does not have any range. So it's a close combat pierce unit. Very, very strange to think about a close combat pierce unit, but that's what they are. He's going to be throwing his stick, and it kind of looks like he's kind of meleeing to some degree. Couldn't quite work out how to make the hack damage work, and I can't be bothered to go in and try and figure it out. So we're just going to leave it with Pierce. It's fine. It doesn't make that big of a difference that it's the wrong damage type, but it is what it is. As Kvoth sending himself around, we've already kind of talked about what's different with the Oranos, but we'll go into a little bit more detail here in this game, seeing as it's the second one we've seen. So I'm going to give you a little bit more information on the stats there with these units. So one thing is that Oranos in the Classical Age, which you'll probably see here Suppe doing, is that Oranos gets one unit is not being able to be trained, which we haven't actually seen yet. Hopefully we see it in this game. If this game goes long, we most likely will. But Oranos gets Arcus in the Classical Age out of the military barracks. So you can build yourself Mermillo and Arcus, and in the counter barracks, you can make yourself Catapelti and Terma. The Arcus has been kind of toned down a little bit, reduced in range from 20 range down to 14 range. Obviously, you get free medium archers. That brings it back up to 16 range. And then heavy archers and champion archers will give it an extra 2 range apiece, pulling it back up to 20 range, going back into line with kind of 5.0 EE standards. And then also, when you're in the heroic age, you actually get access to the destroyers in the counter barracks instead of the Chieroballista, and that becomes your counter infantry unit. So now Atlantean get that counter infantry unit to to make ends meet and enjoy their life. As we do see Kvoth, he's going to be trying to pop up this town center over here, the Promethean Offspring coming through. It's going to be a little bit tough to actually attack this one as these villagers over here are a little bit out of position here. We do see the Pharaoh coming over here, and the Pharaoh will basically be able to take those out. That's a great shank there. Great idea from Kvoth. That actually snared the Promethean Offspring, slowing it down, allowing the 5.0 track rating Pharaoh to hit the Promethean Offspring. That was absolutely huge there. As Suppe scouting around, we do see the priest inbound trying to find a little bit of damage here onto that Promethean Offspring as the villagers moving off of the wood there. Promethean Offspring does get taken out. Town center coming down for Kvoth as well as the game is about to motor ahead. Suppe starting to build himself Terma here. He's actually decided to go for a double counter barracks opening here. He's gotten himself 3 Terma here, though he didn't utilize his Valor with a citizen just yet. He might be deciding to do that a little bit later as Suppe moves forward here as well. We do have a question in the chat. Mosca says, Addy now has both Destroyer and Fanatic as a counter infantry unit. Which one is better? Now, Fanatics are not a counter infantry unit. Fanatics are a counter everything unit. So they will still fulfill that role. They do still have 3 population. They are still very, very good against everything. And I would recommend continuing to build them in a similar fashion that you would have normally. It's just that you've also got the access to building destroyers as well, which are very similar to a Hypaspist. If you have to compare it to something, I would consider comparing it to the Greek Hypaspist. Anyways, we'll see how it all goes. It is a bit of a funny unit. If I had my way, I would rip the shield off said unit and just leave it with a trident, but hopefully we see Suppe build one. Against Egyptian, there's not really a whole lot of value in building infantry units for the most part. So building the destroyers to counter spearmen or counter axemen doesn't end up happening. It's normally just better to build yourself archers, arcus, terma, infantry, and stay away from the destroyers. But we'll have to wait and see. The other unit that's changed in the Mythic Age is you get... actually, let's stay in the Heroic Age. In the Heroic Age, you end up getting yourself... Thank you again for another gifted sub badge streaming. Appreciate you. 2 of them. Appreciate you. That's so nice. So in the Heroic Age, you get a palace. And in the palace, you're going to have access to a fire siphon. Now, you might remember the fire siphon is a really, really strong early Mythic Age kind of siege weapon that Atlantean has to blow their opponent off the map. It doesn't have the same range as before. It's much less range. In fact, it's kind of a melee ranged unit, so to speak. It's going to be shooting the fire out right next to the opponent's buildings. I think it's got like 2 range or something. And then in the Mythic Age, you get access to the Chieroballista, which gets bonus damage versus buildings or something like that. Or not necessarily bonus damage versus buildings. It gets crush damage. So the extra arrows it's shooting, it ends up doing a considerable amount of damage versus buildings. Very similar to the Ballista of Norse. Not quite the same, I don't think. Maybe it is. I can't remember. Maybe a little bit different stats-wise. But that's the final thing to look forward to there. As both players booming it up, we do see the Kvoth barracks is out. He's starting to make some spearmen here, as we do see the Hathor coming through for Kvoth, as well as a town center is now up for Suppe. A 3rd town center is up for Suppe, as the citizen is starting to get trained very, very fast here, as now the Terma pushing in to this position, looking for a snipage on the laborers, as though the Termas, one volley does a significant amount of damage. These 5 Termas are kind of like you've got how many would it be? Something like 7 Terma in these 5. So it's like you've shot 7 volleys from the old Terma out of these ones. Very, very strong. As the hero Terma coming in onto this position, looking for some villager kills here as he has to retreat back. They're getting a significant amount of damage here, but good control from Kvoth, keeping all his villagers alive, making sure that that's the case. Monument to the Soldiers coming through as well. There is a Heroic Age in for Kvoth. He's going to be able to start making himself some cavalry here, which I do think is going to be the best call. But let's take a look at how much HP this cavalry has. It's going to be insane. That's a 77. Now, that is a tanky unit that Kvoth has managed to get in this game. And this is going to be something that Suppe is really going to have to consider how he's going to want to deal with this one. Because I did see in chat somewhere there that someone said that cavalry, they don't really counter archers. And that's actually not 100% true. They in fact, they do counter archers. It's just that you need a significant amount of them. You can't just send one or two of them in and expect to win the fights. You need to have a significant amount to actually engage and win the fight very, very hard, rather than just a couple of them go in and get sniped before they do all too much damage. Suppe is microing his Terma nicely here, not yet allowing Kvoth in. Kvoth has decided to make some Spearmen, and while Spearmen aren't a terrible unit against Terma, against Oranos Terma, Spearmen definitely not the best of the best to be using, as Suppe is very happily going to continue this kind of shoot and scoot micro, so to speak, here. As he does pull back. One Spearman going down there. A little bits of damage coming in onto this position here as the priest does get taken out, as some Promethean are going to be coming in. We'll see if the Terma here without the hidden run are going to be able to function all too well. We do see one Wadge going down. Good control where that's concerned. As Suppe moves across the map, he's going for this town center. Can that work out or not is the big question, as the Patsukos does end up going down. The cavalry over here chasing these Terma down fairly nicely in the back here, and it does look like Suppe is still in a decent position, as Kvoth gonna have to leave this one. He still hasn't quite gotten up to population cap, as the Pharaoh coming in trying to snipe down the Stymphalian bird on that position there, almost taking it down, as one citizen doesn't quite get picked off. We do see the cavalry now looking for some raids. Very, very useful unit here. Raiding in an Atlantean economy is super, super useful, because their citizens are much, much weaker, 105 HP, as opposed to the citizens of old, which are closer to 150 HP. As this town center attempting to come up here for Kvoth, is trying to push out across the map here, as the Son of Osiris pops through the Migdol stronghold here, not quite managing to get the kills, so to speak, but he is empowering this settlement, ensuring that he keeps that Son of Osiris alive here. I love those catapulties entering this army, dealing with those cavalry, but that does allow the chariot archers to get some value here, sniping those down fairly easily. As the Pharaoh pops through, we'll be getting some good damage. We do see a Locust getting dropped down onto this position. 1, 2, 3 citizen, 4 citizen have been picked off. That Locust is huge for Kvoth in this game, as the fighting still ensues over here. Kvoth now gets his town center up. It's 100 population for Suppe to 110 population for Kvoth. So still very, very close. More military barracks coming down on the front here for Suppe, as he's trying to find some sort of an opening here in this game. But it looks to me like Kvoth has stabilized, so to speak, and so long as he takes good fights here and makes sure that those chariot archers are out of range of the Terma do only have 17 range or 13 range or whatever comes from them. Once you get heavy Terma, once you get champion Terma, they get an extra range each, but you can definitely stay out of range of those Terma, and also, well, you can't actually dodge the Terma arrows with those chariot archers, which makes it even more important to ensure that you're keeping your range and making sure you've got your cavalry targeting them down. As we do see a shifting sands from Kvoth onto this position, hits one citizen, going to be trying to take down another citizen, almost gets it, as he doesn't quite, as it gets into the manor. Another citizen into the manor over here, as more citizen going to be falling here, not quite, does manage to get into that manor on this position. Another citizen does end up falling. This citizen does get into the manor, but a lot of damage there coming on to Suppe's economy here, as the chariot archers sniping the units that are starting to pop out onto this position. Like, Soup needs to get his citizens started yet again out of his town centers. Sometimes you can forget that you need to do this, but it does look like Soup is managing to do that. He is starting the trade route as well, so his economy will continue to be increasing here, even though he has lost a significant amount of units. We do see the army of Kvoth moving around onto the top corner of the map. I'd love to see Kvoth starting to wall up the map now. This is one thing that's quite difficult for Egyptian players, but when you start to move across the map, when you start to get good damage done onto your opponent, you do need to start considering you've got the opponent distracted. Let's get the walls set up. Let's get everything going as best as you possibly can. As Kvoth does manage to find another low HP citizen, stops the palace from going up. It takes a lot of losses to make that happen. Meanwhile, over here, we see some more raids coming through as Kvoth is hitting the citizen on this position over here. We see more citizen falling on this position, but lots of chariot archers have fallen. Soup's still sitting at 33 population, but Kvoth is hit up Mythic Age. 50% of the way there, as we do see a siege tower coming in to try and take out the palace here, but the catapulties are going to get some good damage onto that one. And potentially we will see the palace going down, but the citizen are in hot pursuit to get this palace finished up as these chariot archers getting sniped down by the Termi. You just can't retreat with them. They're not that useful as a raiding tool, these chariot archers, because they get chased down by Terma. I think is a great thing, because chariot archers are really, really effective at sniping the villagers and getting out without any repercussions for no good reason apart from their... Well, I mean, it's the same as the Terma, right? They are also quite good at it. Anyways, we do see the Kvoth Pharaoh come in onto this position, the palace coming back up, and now we're going to be seeing the Son of Osiris, and this Son of Osiris is a scary, scary unit. He's got 5.04 speed. He's got 59% pierce armor. He does have a lot more survivability than before, but it doesn't matter if you're not going to be taking control of that Son of Osiris as he gets deleted. They're not paying attention, and it gets absolutely massacred. That was a huge, huge blunder from Kvoth, not paying attention where that's concerned. Shockwave coming in. We do see a fire siphon coming out for Soup as he's going to be attempting to break through onto this position. Look at the stats. It does 54 crush damage a second. A significant amount of damage comes out of this fire siphon, but it can only hit the buildings from 2 to 3 range. It needs the space in front of the buildings, and it needs to be at this range to get the damage done. As we will be seeing the siege works getting taken down. Kvoth is in a difficult position right now. He's still going for the raids with his chariot archers, with his cavalry. Soup making a huge push here as Kvoth is very, very much behind on the production. He's fallen into the age-old Egyptian trap of not building enough production buildings. And why is this the age-old Egyptian trap? How do Egyptian players normally get out of this position? Is it by playing better? No, it's not. It's by clicking that mercenary button. Egyptian does not have mercenary anymore here. They cannot click the mercenary button to just magically get themselves a bunch of free army. You've got to be playing the game well. You've got to be spending your resources, getting your units out. We do see Sun-Dried Mudbrick, Masons coming in, as well as the Fire Siphons starting to take a little bit of damage on this position. They do have 350 HP on them, which is a significant amount, but they do less damage than, say, a siege tower, I believe, though I'm not sure I'm going to be able to see exactly what a siege tower does at this moment as the town center gets closer and closer to falling. Let's take a quick look. Can we see? It's got 50 crush and 300 HP. So 50 more HP, 5 less crush damage, much more survivability for the Fire Siphon, but less damage. As the town center falls, some spearmen coming out. They are going to be able to get rid of those Fire Siphon nice and fast here, as well as the cavalry coming through, going to start shanking down heavy arcus and the like, as well as some mummies coming through here for Kvoth. This is going to be a big help moving forward. Will Kvoth be able to swing this back into his favor after he's cleaned up the majority of Soup's units here? Soup's fallen down to 150 population, but he still has these catapulties out. He is still making the Fire Siphon, which are a little bit clunky in the army. They only cost 150 wood, 150 gold, which is obviously cheaper than before, but they're a bit clunky in the army, so to speak. So you don't really want them unless you're making a push. As Kvoth tries to break through here, the villagers jumping onto the town center. He does need the Pharaoh here to help him power that one back up, as the Pharaoh is making his way forward here to start getting the town center back. And you guys know that once the Pharaoh is empowering, that town center shoots up fast, as Kvoth notices the fire siphon getting close, and he path blocks beautifully. Those fire siphon do not make it in to stop the town center up, and Suppe has got to continue finding ways to figure out how to push Kvoth out of this game, as Kvoth is continuing to cause manic in this game. He's continuing to prevent trade route from getting value here. He's raiding that one non-stop here, as we're seeing the raid coming up to the top 4. Suppe as well. Suppe still has got a Mythic Age remaining. He can go through Helios, he can go through Hecate. He's got himself 36 Citizen, 12 Llama Caravans. So he's got a considerable amount of economy. But he's consistently getting raided here, as we do see a handful of Catapulties coming up here. These Catapulties, they might not seem much at 5.5 damage per second, but it is a very, very big thing here, as 1 cavalry gets taken down, 2 cavalries getting taken down, 3 cavalries getting taken down. Kvoth not paying attention up there as he's getting raided on this position, making a little bit too much of a importance on this one, as the cavalry raiding force has been put to sleep here. Suppe getting very, very close to that Mythic Age here, which he's definitely going to be needing to win this game, as Kvoth is trying to just barely stay alive here. He's on the cusp for what seems to be the entirety of this game. We see heavy infantry coming through for Suppe as well here, though he's not really building infantry units. He is still utilizing those Catapulti to deal with the cavalry, which is... It's funny to see, but I think he's absolutely right. The Catapultis are a great unit for Atlantean players to use. It just seems that because there's other options normally for Atlantean, namely the Destroyer, you don't normally see those Catapultis featuring in the army, but they are doing work here to deal with those amped up cavalry in this game. As Kvoth pulls back, he is starting to get those catapult out to try and deal with the palace, the Fort Palace of Suppe. The raids coming up onto this position as Kvoth tries to sneak some gold villages into the corner. He's getting raided over here. We do see a whole bunch of raiding units from Kvoth hitting the trade route of Suppe. Both players just trying to injure each other's economy as best as they possibly can. One thing that we haven't seen here, and it is a feature now of Atlantean that it should be a lot easier to get away with doing, is walling. We haven't seen yet an Oranos player attempt to just take a citizen and just start getting walls up across the map, because it's only 2 population now. Sending one citizen off to put walls up, it's much more value in my opinion than when it's a 3 population citizen. I feel like it costs a little bit too much to make that happen, but with a 2 population citizen, definitely something to consider. As the raid hitting this situation, yet again, it does look like the palace here is going to be enough to defend as the villagers get pushed off of that gold mine. Kvoth is hitting himself in a very, very difficult position right now. He is currently cut off of gold. These 15 villagers, I'm not sure what the plan is with those, but they are roaming around here searching for something to start shanking down. Kvoth is in a very, very weird position. He's got himself 4 catapult out, and he is going to be pushing onto this town center here as the raids continue on this position, searching for villagers to kill. Still, we do have a trade route for Kvoth. It has started, but it is very, very weak here. Going to this town center, as Kvoth wants to set it up on this position over here. He's got a market over here, actually, so it's not awful, though. Potentially going to this town center wouldn't be bad. But with Helios coming through for Suppe, things are about to get very, very difficult here for Kvoth. As look at that, all those chariot archers getting dealt with beautifully by Suppe here as the Kvoth village is pulling back. We do see more raids coming in onto Suppe's citizens here as the citizens are making a break to try and take down these catapults as, Kvoth doesn't get that final shot off, but 1 HP is all that's remaining as he pushes in with those villagers, takes the town center down. The citizen over here getting cleaned up here as the Ark is coming in to try and help out as well, but more citizen going down. Suppe is down to 26 citizen. Kvoth is down to 68 villagers, ladies and gentlemen, as these 2 catapults still alive here with a handful of HP. The Arcus should be able to deal with the remaining chariot archers here, but Kvoth is now fallen down to 137 population. He's still not gathering this gold mine up here. He's got to take a handful of villages and just go up there, as we do see the Kvoth catapult coming onto this position. Look at Soup's favor as well. He's got 100 favor. He's going to be able to pop out several Hecagigantes straight away. Where the problem is with Helios is you need siege. You need melee units to kill buildings. You don't really want to have this Archer Ball, which Soup's made here to find value. As we do see the Fire Siphon will end up falling there on the front there. As Kvoth's still trying to hold on. We do see him moving over onto this gold mine as well. Handful of villagers going there. We've got 14 camel caravans, 14 llama caravans. Kvoth's resources, he's starting to sell wood. He can sell some food as well if he so chooses, as the Dryad searching around here as well. Looking for some more villagers to take out, as Kvoth, he's kind of refused to put up that Migdol over here. And I'd love to see him get a market up in this corner and really start shooting his gold income into the stratosphere. As we do see, look at this, the catapult coming in onto this position. The Citizen can make a nosedive onto that catapult to try and take it out. There are a handful of units here for Soup to defend this one. But we see the rest of the units coming in, and that town center is not going to be going down anytime soon. Great attempt here from Kvoth, but Soup's defensive capabilities are too strong here, as the army coming into the middle of the map as well. Looks like that Hecagigantes is still a strong unit, but it's a glass cannon. It does tons of damage, but it gets killed off really, really fast with only 44% hack, 44% pierce armor. As Soup comes in with his Terma Arcus Ball to help out. I'd really love to see Kvoth trying slingers here. I'm not going to lie, it might seem crazy, but I think that the slingers, they're going to be able to get a lot more value than you think against this Archer Ball that Soup is making. Why? Because one, those Terma, you're not going to overkill them as much. They've got a lot more HP on them, so those slingers, if you have like 10 slingers focused down a Terma, you're going to be able to just purely kill that. And then obviously all of those Arcus are going to find themselves having a lot of pain there as well, as we are now seeing the raid coming up onto this position. Soup figuring out the gold income is coming through. Kvoth needs to sort that out. He needs to be defending that position. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a vortex of some sort coming in to hit these villages here as well. We do see the Pharaoh empowering the trade route on this position here. One option for Kvoth would be to garrison a handful of Arcus Vortex, like do a half Vortex for Soup onto Kvoth's archers over here. Doesn't really need it because he just wanders up here. Going to get a bunch of villager kills. He is utilizing his Skin of the Rhino here to try and fight back as best as he can, as he's managing to defend on the center of the map. I've got no idea what's happening there, but this Savannah is going crazy as the... that might be a shifting sand or something really, really weird. I can't explain exactly what's happening there, but it looks cool. As the units pushing through. Kvoth still struggling here to get upgrades. Soup, on the other hand, he's got himself just a little bit of pierce armor, which is helping out quite a bit. More units are going to continue to send themselves over here, pushing off of this gold mine. Kvoth has hit 21 camel caravans here. He does have coinage, but he is only getting himself 25 gold a trip with that trade route. And at some point, he's got to be thinking, how do I secure a trade route here? Answer is set up your walls, get that trade route. Same thing for Soup. One of the biggest ways in which you can lose the game is just allowing your opponent to set up some sort of a wall system on your trade route, on your corners, and prevent you from getting all the value out of your trade. Well, we'll see if that's ever going to happen here in this game, as the Terma continuing to check out this gold mine, as Kvoth sends the villagers back up over here, as the Terma continuing to move into this fight here for Soup, just in small numbers. I love it, just small numbers of Terma. This is exactly what I was kind of envisioning would be the optimum way to kind of play this kind of a unit composition. Would be a handful of Terma, majority Arcus dealing the bulk of the damage, while the Terma are just coming in and sniping one or two units at a time. There's the town center continuing to be under pressure here. We do see a mummy coming in to help out. Not too much to actually take out at this position here, as the villagers coming over to start repairing this one back up. We do see the wall, sneaky wall here for Kvoth. That town center is at 1,000 HP here, as we do see the walls coming up on this position. Soup's got the idea, finally starting to work it out as those citizen. I mean, he's only sent one forward. It's max value if he gets the walls up, but he is going to get somewhat stopped here as those villagers come through and they start shanking. You could send like a hero citizen forward as well if you so chose, as the Fire Cipher starting to hit this town center. Another option here for Soup would be to make Chieroballista, as we are now going to be seeing the Chieroballista. Chieroballista kind of a twofold unit. Really, really good at dealing with archers because they got 9 pierce damage and they shoot a bunch of arrows, so doing splash damage with those as well. So the archer ball is not really the composition to deal with the Chieroballista at all. He's going to be able to start targeting down that town center. It does only have 25 range, which is less than the ballista by, I believe, 5 range or something like that. But it will start taking down this town center ever so slowly, or taking out the chariot archers, or finding some value where that's concerned, as we do see the walls creeping closer here for Kvoth. Getting a siege works out. Starting to make those catapult is going to be really, really big here, as the chariot archer is trying to target down that Chieroballista. It does have 80 crush. It's not 80. Well, it's got 89 crush armor, but 80% pierce armor. Only 85 HP. But 80 pierce armor does mean it's basically going to take 80 shots to kill that, or 80 seconds of DPS to actually take out a Chieroballista. As the town center here is doing a decent amount of damage. Not crazy big, but just a decent amount of damage as it's slowly getting taken out. Soup does need to get himself, I believe, siege engineers. That should affect the Chieroballista, but part of me feels like I've forgotten to give that one a go. So we'll have to keep an eye on if Soup does get that. He is getting Burning Pitch, and someone was warning me that perhaps Burning Pitch is going to make this unit absolutely busted. I don't think it does. I think it just gives a little bit of crush damage or something from memory. We'll have to wait and see once those arrows start turning fire. How much of a bonkers Chieroballista will this become? Yeah, this Chieroballista is more of a positional siege unit, as we do see the or positional siege unit, as in like a unit that you build and your opponent shouldn't really be able to break that position all too easily. But I love this from Kvoth. Starting to move forward, starting to set this catapult up to attack the town center. Can he range from this position? Answer is not quite yet. He needs to get just that little bit closer as the catapult moves out of the range there. We'll see if he wants to build a gate and see exactly where it is. There's another wall coming up here on this position to start sieging the town center. The town center has been repaired back up to full as he's starting to take some damage there. We do see the chariot archer is going to be abandoning said position as we see this Chieroballista starting to push forward. And look at this, 1.0 crush damage. It should not get bonus damage versus the buildings. It just gets a little bit more crush damage, which does account to a significant, like 3 extra crush damage per second, which might not seem like a lot, but it actually is. Or maybe 4 extra crush damage a second. I can't exactly remember. But it does do a significant amount of extra damage, as we do see the chariot archers hitting this trade route. The Terma are in hot pursuit over here, getting that damage done to defend. I would love to see Kvoth moving away from the chariot archers. While they are 136 HP with this relic, giving an extra 9 HP, which is a big deal. The Terma, they're meant to counter the chariot archers, and they are countering the chariot archers here as those spearmen come forward, and they're a better unit to tank, in all honesty. If they start getting attacked, then the Terma start becoming much worse. As we do see a bit of a vortex here coming in onto this position. Soup does not want to give up this position at all here as he pops through with just a handful of units. Where is the rest of his stuff? Where is the rest of his stuff? Is he full economy or what? He's got 27 llama caravans here. He's got 35 civilian units. That can't be everything. The town center does end up surviving. Oh, there's some units over here defending in the main base here. The other thing is these Chieroballista, there are only 3 populations, so you can pop out where catapults are 4 population. If you get out 3 catapults for 4 population, that's 12. You can get 4 Chieroballista out for that. So they are significantly. You need a significant amount more to feel that impact because they're less population. Did he get this upgrade yet? It should give an extra pierce and crush damage to it, but we'll have to wait and see as the palace is starting to go down. Town center repairing back up as well. Is Suppe going to be searching around for something to do? Oh, sorry, not Suppe. Kvoth going to be searching around for something to do. Is we have seen the Arcus searching around up here to figure out where the trade route is. Still no effort to come up to the corner here as Suppe has secured that. He is moving around. He's making himself a fire siphon. I like the idea. Get some fire siphon to try and hit elsewhere as this side build has been put a stop to. As the Arcus getting taken out, we still more of this trade route getting cleaned up. This is such a big power move by Kvoth as he's just continuing to hit the trade route, whereas Kvoth's trade route is like ridiculously safe here. It doesn't, while it's only getting him 25 gold a trip, it's really, really safe. Meanwhile, we do see the fire siphon pushing through here, starting to get some damage done, stopping the siege works from coming up where that's concerned. As the unit's still pushing forward on this position, that town center is not going to go down unless you can really set up and hold that position with the Chieroballista. The other options for Suppe, if he doesn't want to use those long-ranged siege weapons, which is what Chieroballista are, is to get up close and do damage with the Halo of the Sun, Petrified, Fire Siphon, or even potentially... let me actually check those upgrades there. Do they give a bonus for siege? Fire Siphon and Chieroballista, hack vulnerability in Petrified. And Fire Siphon is just Fire Siphon, Crush, and hack damage. This one might be worth giving a little bit of damage for the Chieroballista as well, but nonetheless, Kvoth holding well on this position as Suppe now setting up over here. We do see the hometown center under siege, and this is exactly what he needs. Towers get set up. He can push through with the Fire Siphon ever so slightly. Once he gets some towers set up here, he can start getting Chieroballista behind him with walls and making it inaccessible to take those down. You can't just build naked siege weapons and expect them to work as Atlantean. You have to set up the base in a similar fashion to what Norse has to set up when they're making their own sort of ballista kind of sieges. This town center now fought. Suppe starting to go down. Suppe needs to be keeping this in check. He's got Citizen kind of close up here. He does decide to move them in. Shockwave onto the catapults as the town center getting close to falling. The villagers popping through here, going to try and shank this one down, but is he too little too late? The town center does end up falling as the Citizen falling, pushing forward as well. Can Suppe get that one back? He clicks up Architects, but too little too late as the market has been stopped. But look at this. Kvoth just moves over to a different corner and he actually improves on the trade route to some degree. You'd have to expect there as Kvoth has put so much chaos on this map. He could also get a catapult back into this position and siege this town center yet again. He's getting a lot of value out of these side builds. Kvoth, I mean, not Kvoth, but Suppe also is getting value out of these side builds, especially being on this position. If he makes enough Chieroballista here, I'm talking like 4 or 5 Chieroballista on this position, and he's got the 3 palaces to make them really in quick succession, he might be able to get in here and take that town center down. But effectively, these sorts of Fire Siphon raids, they are very, very similar to just sending one siege tower in. So it's going to get some damage done. If Kvoth doesn't notice it, you're going to kill the town center. But look at this now. The town center over here under siege yet again as Kvoth is getting his walls up. The Citizen coming through to try and shank this down. He will be able to possibly shank the catapult through this wall. As the Arcus coming over here, realize they need to start taking down the laborers there as well. The catapult's still causing problems on this position, but they will get taken down by those burning pitch Arcus. So, I mean, it doesn't really do anything. They're still doing 1 damage per second. But Suppe might be able to get this town center back. He is losing manners and things. That's not good for him. Kvoth, on the other hand, losing houses here as his town center is getting closer and closer to falling. I'd love to see some attempt at some Chieroballista out at this point to just ensure that the town center continues taking damage here. The villagers will be able to shank down that fire siphon fast enough, and the town center doesn't quite fall. 93 HP remaining on that one as the army coming through for Kvoth to take down not only the citizen, but also preventing that town center from going up. Great raid from Kvoth here as he is managing this very, very nicely. Meanwhile, the citizen trying to break through on this position here is Kvoth seeing what he can do as the fire siphon do manage to take down Kvoth's hometown center. So both players are going to be dropping down to 140 population here. Moving forward, the citizen here under a lot of duress in this game right now. He needs to get something up to defend this town center to try and get it back down, while also figuring out how he's going to be able to defend this kind of side build. I'd love to see a fire siphon actually roll in here to clean this up. That would be a really, really good idea there for Suppe, but he does need to get himself up a palace over there or something like that as the villagers making their way forward, going to attempt to get himself the town center on this position here as Kvoth is already over here defending the big problem here is, I mean, Dryads, they don't cost population, so Suppe can push his population in front of 140 at its moment to something closer to 155 if he gets all those Dryads out. So as long as he can prevent this town center from going up, which it looks like he will be able to do, he might be able to start pushing back here as the catapult coming back in onto this position here. Suppe not paying attention. It's starting to go down. 40 HP on that catapult as the citizen is going to come over. Will start shanking. Going to be in a great position where that's concerned. As the catapult going to be retreating back. Fire siphon getting cleaned up. More fire siphon going down over here as well. As Suppe is trying to figure out how to break down Kvoth's base here. And he has managed to kill this, but that pharaoh is scary. You really want to be killing that one off. And now that the settlement is actually down, the Chieroballista is very, very valuable at preventing a town center from actually going up. It's really, really good at stopping the town center from going up, but we aren't seeing him building that one there. So that town center is going to come back up for Kvoth as he's going to continue to fight here. This town center getting closer and closer to fall as yet again, Suppe not paying attention here. The hard part about Age of Mythology, as always, is staying laser focused for the entirety of this game. This is 42 minutes in at this point. As Kvoth pushes in yet again, looking to hit the trader out over here. We do see some towers coming up for Suppe to try and defend on this position. The citizen coming in to try and get the town center back up. We do have a whole bunch more units coming through for Kvoth. He's ready to start hitting this one with siege yet again. As Suppe has not been able to get that position back for the time being. We do see a vortex coming in for Suppe to try and deal with these units here, as the chariot archers are going to get left to their own devices over here. But a watchtower will be enough to kill them off eventually, as now Suppe can get the town center back here. Hopefully, sometimes it's not a bad idea to just send a bunch of villagers up here and just get this town center up. Send like another 8 villagers up onto that settlement there to rebuild that one. As Suppe pushes across the map here, we are still seeing more raids onto this position. This corner kind of side build here. Finally, Suppe is doing something about it. He's got the walls up over here. He's got the towers up. Do you see the spearmen still trying to shank down different amounts of llama caravans? As the Terma come over here, we'll be able to snipe down those chariot archers very, very easily. As it does look to me like Suppe gets his town center back up and he lives to tell the tale in this game. He's going to continue along here. Lance of Stone, however, coming through for Suppe. Suppe wants to try Lance of Stone Contarius to break through his opponent. These spearmen, they are only Osiris spearmen, so they are not exactly the best at dealing with Contarius. You know, they got a bonus, but it's not that huge bonus that comes with Horus. As the catapult here, yet again, back onto the town center. As the Fire Siphon still trying to break through on this position. Still no attempt at those mass Chieroballista I was talking about. You might sound weird to say it, and it's like, you might look at it and see one Chieroballista, and it's not the same as a catapult, and you go, it's really weak, it doesn't do anything. And you say, well, hang on, it's a third of a catapult. It's not a catapult, it's a third of a catapult. It's cheaper than a catapult at only, how many resources is it? At only 115 of 115, so it's cheaper than a catapult. It's less population of a catapult. It does less damage than a catapult. In terms of actual raw stats, the catapult does 63 crush damage a second compared to the Chieroballista, which is doing something like 9 times 4, so doing 36 damage a second with that damage. So you can see that you need a significant amount more to feel that same amount of value, but it's a different type of unit. So balanced, unbalanced, I don't know, but definitely different. As the catapult continuing to lay siege on this position, Kvoth has just had to... It seems like he just spent all of this gold. He had a whole bunch of gold. I don't know what he spent it on. Maybe he bought a bunch and he just to build units here. But Kvoth is defending at this point as Suppe is trying to find a way forward. He's just making the Terma Arcus ball at this point, as we do see the Mummy managing to snipe down Gigantes nicely on that position, as the Fire Siphon continuing to cause pressure onto this position. Great micro here from Suppe, pulling back that Fire Siphon, bringing the villagers into range, but this is not going to quite be enough, as the catapult is slowly going to push through this position here, as we do see a bit of a shockwave onto this position, as Suppe is getting caught out ever so slightly on that town center. This catapult rolling through. I would love to see a little bit more late game care from these players. There's all of these very, very important walling sections that could come into this game, but we're just not seeing them come through. Obviously, the Fire Siphon do have this Hail of the Sun upgrade. It's a bunch more siege damage. These Fire Siphon are doing the same amount, or doing more damage than the catapult do here. In all honesty, because 68 crush damage a second is a huge amount of crush damage. So they are very, very important. So it does make sense that Suppe is going into them, even though he's got the Chieroballista available. As you do see an attempt here from Suppe to get a side build down, but Kvoth very much paying attention, gets that Pharaoh involved, starting to shank that down, as we do see a big, big vortex, as Suppe goes, you know what? I see you on this position, and I don't like it. The way to kill an Egyptian player is always, and not just Egyptian, a way to just kill a player in Age mythology is always going to be take out the trade route. But while that's going on, Kvoth is taking down the town center yet again of Suppe. Suppe is back to square one where that's concerned, but he has managed to take out the trade route here to some degree. But the spearmen are coming through. They will be able to shank down these Fire Siphon very, very quickly and continue along. As Kvoth moving forward here. And mark it in the center of the map. This might seem like a funny play, and it is a funny play, but if Kvoth can hold this position, it's a really, really safe trade route going from this town center to this market here. We'll see if that's what he wants to do. He does have this market still in this corner here, so it's not that important. And yet again, Suppe manages to take down the home town center of Kvoth. This game is absolute chaos, as both players are matching up to each other very, very closely. But while it's going on, Kvoth is slowly getting control of this town center here, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be able to get that one up, it seems, as more Dryads coming through here to try and delay as best as they can. But Suppe's got population on this position, trying to take villagers out, trying to clean stuff up. There could be a possibility that this town center can go the wayside of Suppe in this game, but he's going to have to put a lot more effort into it, as Kvoth will get the town center up. The Fire Siphon rolls forward, but too slow there. Kvoth now up to 3 town centers in the center of the map. Siege works coming up on the front here as well, as the villagers coming over here to try and get this town center up here as well. Trying to empower that one as best as they possibly can, as we are seeing the guard towers getting taken down over here. Arcus from range, able to snipe down some of those spearmen before the Siphon come in, but Will he be able to stop the town center? Oh, I love the granaries here to block those fire siphon from coming in. Is it too much? He does get one fire siphon hit off, but 2 fire siphon hits off, but that's going to go down nonetheless, and he will be getting this town center up, going up to 4 town centers. The question is, does he have the economy to maintain his presence here on this map? Up to now 180 population, 1,100 gold in the bank. 18 villages only. He's only got 18 villages at the moment. Kvoth has 8. That's nothing. He's got 10 villages here, and he's got 6 villages here. He's basically got 0 villages gathering resources. He's only able to buy food and buy wood to build himself anything. Soup needs to stay mentally switched on here to be able to read the fact that Kvoth has no economy. If Soup can get himself out some units here, maybe get rid of a couple of villages or maybe get rid of some llama caravans, get that economy going, he might be able to push himself back into this game here. If we take a look at the armory upgrades as well, possibly getting some of those wouldn't go astray as these units are falling. But Soup, oh no, he just does not have that mental in him here. Does not. I mean, obviously 46 camel caravans at this point is a lot of trade. As Soup said, none of his siege works. I mean, he didn't really use the Chieroballista in the best way possible. I'm surprised. He's a Norse main. He should understand that he needs to build a whole bunch of them, and they're very useful against units as well. But you need to put defensive structures up to defend them. But he just could not find the opening. I mean, you got to pay credit where credit's due. Kvoth was stretching Soup across this map so well, hitting this position consistently, defending everything over here, pushing. It kind of didn't defend his gold all too well. I think that was great play by Soup, but didn't quite allow him to win here. And Kvoth gets the dub, goes up 2-0 here with some fantastic gameplay. I mean, the question is, are the fire siphon not strong enough? They're really, really great heroic age siege weapons. Are the Chieroballista not strong enough? I mean, if the Chieroballista aren't strong enough, then the Ballista aren't strong enough, in my opinion. But we'll have to keep on waiting and seeing with that one. There are a lot of options for Atlantean with siege in regards to, like, you can get Hecagantes out. You can get fire siphon, you can get Chieroballista out. You can make Mermillo to take down buildings as well. Any sort of melee units. Contarius heroes are also an option. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this game, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys in the next game.